Hey everybody, welcome back to Rob's Game Group. I'm Rob, and this is another episode of A Look at the Book. In this episode, we are going to be taking a look at a white box supplement. So it is a supplement for white box fantastic medieval adventure game, compatible with Swords and Wizardry. And just to go ahead and clarify, because I've had some people ask me, in some of my other white box videos, I've had this copy sitting on the table and using this copy to do stuff. This copy, because people have asked me about it, is the alternate, or one of the alternate covers that you can get. Same book, just a different cool old school art wraparound cover. You can get it on Amazon. It's an alternate cover. It's like a penny cheaper than this one actually. But that's not what we're going to be looking at today. What we're going to be looking at today is White Box Gothic. And this is going to give you adventures in shadow and horror. It takes the Gothic horror setting and mixes it with the classic fantasy setting rules for White Box. And it's a download off of DriveThruRPG for $4.99. It's really good, and I can't wait to show you guys some of the stuff that's in it. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the book. Alright, so here we go. Let's take a look at White Box Gothic, Adventures in Shadow and Horror for Swords and Wizardry White Box. This is, like I said, a PDF on DriveThruRPG. It's $4.99. I got it and printed it out and put it in my white box binder for a couple of reasons actually. Number one, you guys know I don't show off PDFs on my show, so if somebody wants something shown off, I have to, if they send it to me, it has to be a physical copy, or if I buy it, it has to be a physical copy. Number one. Number two, I did it because I like to have a physical copy of the stuff I'm using at the table. So it just makes it easier to show off. So we got some pretty cool retro cover art here. And this is published by Barrel Rider Games. They use the OGL, Open Game License, to publish it. And it's a pretty good book, and for $4.99 it's got a lot of great content. So we have an introduction. We have Chapter 1, which is Heroes Against the Darkness, which is new classes you can use. Staring into the Abyss, optional rules. Sorcery Most Foul, magic items and spells. And Children of the Night, which is monsters. Let's start with the introduction. Is well written, but it's basically just telling you what Gothic horror is. So Chapter 1, Against the Darkness. We have, and I'm not going to read all of their abilities. You know, I suggest picking up the PDF. You have first optional class is the Monster Hunter, and that's literally what it sounds like. They're people who have dedicated themselves to hunting certain types of monsters. They can advance to 10th level, gives you their weapon and armor restrictions. They have an alertness ability, a chosen prey ability, a tracking ability, an expanded house rule option called expanded tracking, unwavering dedication, and then it lists their saving throw bonus and XP for high constitution. Then we have the Metaphysician. Now the Metaphysician is kind of your Van Helsing type character. They also can advance to 10th level. They do start picking up spells. One of the neat things about their spells that they can use is that they can use either cleric or magic user spells when they're choosing spells. They have a Forsaken Lore ability. House rule for deciphering languages. At 3rd level they gain Turn Undead. They can start casting spells at 2nd level. Their saving throw bonuses against magic. They get an XP bonus for high intelligence. And then we have the Spiritualist. Now this one is kind of a mixed bag. It's almost like a witch or a medium type character combined into one character. They can advance to 10th level. They have some neat abilities, but some of their abilities can flat out kill them on a single die roll. So you want to be careful with this one. It talks about their weapon and armor restrictions. They can sense the unseen. They have spectral touch for reaching across the void. Spiritual guidance for basically controlling undead to gain powers from them that are spell-like abilities. House rule for weariness. House rule for being devoured by spirits. They have a turn undead ability. Their saving throws and XP bonus for wisdom. Their saving throws are made to resist death attacks and effects. Then we have the Wanderer, which could also represent a witch. They could be outcast from their village or whatever because of their abilities, and they do have spellcasting abilities once they reach 5th level. But really any kind of outcast character works here. They can advance up to 10th. They have weapon and armor restrictions, keen senses. They have an ability called Scrape By, Traveler's Trinkets, House Rule for rare items, Wanderer's Luck, spells at 5th level, saving throws, a bonus of +2 against environmental hazards and death, and a XP bonus for Constitution of 15 or higher. And then we have a tried and true classic, the Dampier. The Dampier can only advance to, they are a half vampire if you don't know, literally born of the union of a vampire and a human. And they can only advance, they can only advance to 7th level. But they're still pretty decently powerful. They have weapon and armor restrictions. They have an ability called One with the Shadows, Keen Senses, Negative Energy Protection, Enemy of the Light, Saving Throws, and then we get into the last new class, which is the Reanimated. This is your Frankenstein's monster type character. They are literally stitched together from other body parts, and they are kind of dumb. They don't talk a lot and can only advance to 5th level. They have weapon and armor restrictions, inhuman strength, unnatural tenacity, painless body, and a saving throw bonus of +2 to resist all forms of magic. Then we hit the chapter 2 in the book, which is really neat because this gives us some additional optional rules that you can use to really add that Gothic flair to your fantasy games. The corruption rules are fantastic. You gain corruption points based on things your character does or things your character might witness that are horrific. But there's other ways we'll get to in a few minutes. But it gives you a complete chart of the saving throws that are associated with the type of act witnessed or committed and the amount of corruption points that they would gain. And then over here it talks about how many corruption points they have, 5, 10, or 15, and each one making the character more and more bestial. We have corrupted transformation as an optional rule, and then we have rules for dread, which is kind of like corruption. Certain super powerful monsters might exude dread, but also dread can be applied to places like a haunted tower or a specifically creepy graveyard. It's really the GM or referee's decision here as to where to place dread, and it tells you exactly how to do it and how to try to remove it. You have the house rule for dreaded darkness, and what would a Gothic horror game be without the ability to do curses? So we have curses in here. It goes into a decent amount of detail about the intent behind the curse, and the curses aren't really spelled out. It's more of a thing the referee and the player work out. Like if somebody has really, really slighted the player or the NPC and they decide to curse someone, it's not a magical ability. It's just something they have to do, And by cursing someone, depending on the strength of the curse, you could gain corruption points from that as well. And there are minor curses, major curses, cataclysmic curses, and then it talks about breaking the curse. Chapter 3 gives us our sorcery most foul, with some fantastic art there. We have new spells, clerical spells that are particularly related to this type of game. First level spells are Detect Undead, Hymn of the Holy, Remove Fear, Speak with Spirit. Second level spell is Conjure Holy Symbol, Set to Rest. Third level spell is Death Speak, Empowered Turning. Fourth level spells are Mask of Death, Purification. And fifth level you gain the spell Holy Light. And then it gives you the description of the spells on the next couple of pages. Then we get to magic user spells that are related to Gothic horror. First level spells are Ghostly Servant, Last Words, Sense Undead, Summon Fog. Second level spells Defiling Touch, Hypnotize, Summon Vermin, and Terrify. Third level spells are False Death, Paralyze Undead, Spectral Presence, Unnatural Stillness. Fourth level spells are Wall of Shadow, Empower Dread, Summon Lesser Undead. Fifth level spells are Shadow Form, Summon Greater Undead. And sixth level spells of Bind Beyond Death and Blight. And of course, the description for each spell and how they work. Then we get a section on magic items, and these are magic items, again, related to Gothic horror. I'm not going to go through and tell you what each one of them does by the PDF. But I will tell you that some of these are fantastic. Like the Bag of Bones. This is great. This small cloth sack is 3d6 tiny bone fragments. When a bone fragment is tossed on the ground, it immediately transforms into a skeleton under the control of the character holding the bag. The skeleton remains until destroyed, usable by all classes. And each one of these magic items tells you which classes, if not all, that the item is usable by. But we have the Bag of Bones, the Bat's Cloak, Blessed Holy Symbol, Book of Damnation, Bottled Courage, Candle of Dark Light, Cursing Dagger, Embalming Poison, Embalming Potion, High Spring Wolfsbane, Holy Wafer, Hypnotic Medallion, Idol of the Nameless God. This one I thought was really cool, and I'm going to read it to you. This small idol is crafted from an unknown gray-green stone and depicts a vaguely anthropod figure with an octopus-like head and the wings of a bat. After a few days of ownership, the statue begins to create bizarre dreams in the minds of its owner. In the event that the owner should ever pray to the idol for guidance or aid, they will be granted the ability to cast one cleric spell between first and third level of their choice once per day. However, each day of exposure to the statue causes the owner to gain 1 point of corruption per level of the spell chosen, usable by all classes. This is basically the description of the Idol of Cthulhu from the story Call of Cthulhu. And I find it fantastic that they put this in there and added some Lovecraftian flair to the Gothic horror. I'm definitely going to be using some of that. We also have the Leather of Stitched Flesh, Orator's Journal, Mask of the Dead, Mummified Hand, Sling of Silverstone, Soul Drinking Sword, there's your Stormbringer, Staking Arrow, Symbol of Piety, Tome of Reanimation, Turning Mirror, Vial of Vampire's Blood, Wanderer's Staff. We have the Widow's Veil, and then a house rule for magic and corruption. We're using these spells or these magic items. You have to make saves or gain points of corruption to your character, because it's a dark setting where nothing powerful like this is going to come without a price. Then we have Chapter 4, which is Children of the Night. This is new monsters, and we have the Blood Raven, the Breath Stealer. It's probably a cat, right? Confessor, Clerical Lich. That sounds neat. the Cultist, you can always use those. Lycanthrope Werebat, Lycanthrope Were-Raven, a Plaything, a Reaper, a Shadow Demon, a Skinwalker, a Weeping Tombstone, a Vampire Bride, and a Vampire Lord, which is far more powerful than the vampire listed in the monster section of the book. And then we have a Zombie Reflex, which are a little faster than normal zombies. And then we would come to the end of the book. So, who is this book for? This book is for anybody who wants to add the Universal monster movie feel or the Hammer horror, Gothic horror feel to their fantasy game, or people who are fans of Ravenloft and you want to run a Ravenloft style game or an actual Ravenloft game, which is, I'm going to be using that and this with the setting. So, or with these setting rules to run a Ravenloft game set using the white box rules. And this gives me corruption, dread, and just a whole slew of everything I need to make it feel like Ravenloft. I love this book as well because it gives me the information I need for creating my own domains and my own Dark Lords, which is probably what I'm going to do for my upcoming campaign for my Tuesday night group. And I'll do some videos to let you know how that goes when we do it. Now, do you specifically have to be doing Ravenloft? No. You could literally be doing any fantasy game that you just want to set with a flair of Gothic horror. This $5 PDF is all you need for that. So, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you got something out of it, or I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble for a bit. If you did, then please hit the subscribe button, like, share, and all that jazz. And until next time, my friends, good gaming and good luck. Ah, ah, ah.